I'm just saying that's the main event. And it is centered around this spiritual war that is driving the men and the women apart and destroying the families and bringing us into these polarized ideological corners to war against each other. That is the main event. Now, all the things that happen around the world, this is really what I would call business as usual. Welcome to Monogamish, the show where I describe with fullness and clarity the true nature of all, yes, I said all, modern relationships in today's monogamish era that we are living in. I am Douglas Solution, author of the book Monogamish. This show is for everyone, men and women, even blue pillars, even purple pillars, whatever you are identifying as. The main thing that I am trying to reach people with is the loneliness epidemic. That is our dystopian future that is here now, that we are all suffering from. This content is to help you to find a map of the world, of reality, that is truth, fact, scientifically based, even spiritually based, that you can navigate this dystopian reality that we're living through and survive and thrive in the process. If you're looking for a way out of polarized cultural rage, this is it. You've found it. Like and subscribe. Today, I'm coming to you again from my car, my Porsche, as we revealed in the previous episode, on the Stevens Pass Highway. Yes, Highway 2. The famous, the infamous, state-sponsored highway of death. That's what the locals call it. It starts in the Puget Sound and goes over the North Cascades into Leavenworth, Wenatchee, and beyond. Today, I want to talk about something that troubles a lot of people, and that is the news. The news cycle, as we've come to know it since the advent of 24-hour news in the 90s, this is all part of the modern world that we live in. And right now we're having this latest surge of news that is about Iran being taken over by the United States, essentially, and the Ayatollah killed. Now, a lot of people, especially younger people, they think that, this is some, big event, world-shaking, changing the nature of reality. The news cycle has to really blow that up. It's got to, that is what's going to sell. People want a front row seat in the apocalypse. And the holy war is definitely, will key into that kind of sentiment. But I will tell you that I don't believe that this is really that big a deal. Now, I've been, balls deep in politics my whole life. I've been studying history. I've gone down every kind of rabbit hole of different conspiracy theories that people think. I've read all kinds of books. One of my degrees is in international political science. Another degree that I hold is in international business. I used to have political aspirations. I don't any longer. Like I said, this show is for blue pillars and red pillars. And what I'm trying to do, and what I want to help people with, is to step outside of that polarized dynamic. It's a lot of people have said it's a divide and conquer strategy. I don't believe that. I'm going to be really clear. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. There is a lot of things that people say are conspiracy theories that turn out to be true. That's for sure. But that's just gaslighting, that people are doing to try to put down certain things that aren't, they're not conspiracy theories. There's facts to support it. Now, if there's facts to support it that are reasonable, that are not, one-sided, then it might not be a conspiracy theory. And that's why I say I'm a fact-based guy. And so I always want to know what is the real truth behind all this stuff. And I can tell you, in the case of the Ayatollah, the Ayatollah Khomeini, he's been our whipping boy for going on 50 years. I think it was 79 when we had the hostages under the Carter and then into the Reagan administration. They were freed. So this guy being taken out and Iran being attacked, what this is really business as usual for the empire. And that's the thing that you need to start to look at, is you got to kind of rise above all the rhetoric, the things you've been taught. Look at what's the big picture, what's really going on here. Now, we've been taking out and disposing of and reinstalling leaders all around the world, but especially in the Middle East, for a long time. This is the normal situation. And yes, we're allies with Israel's one of our biggest allies that allows us to do that. It is a important area to control for, I think, multiple reasons. And it's not just the oil. These real black and white, one-sided kind of. That's the problem. People like that stuff, but it's not. The real reality is complicated, and it's really beyond the grasp of understanding a lot of the times. People can understand stuff with lower IQs, but a lot of times they like to go to these short answers. There is an oil component, sure, and there is also a spiritual and religious component, and then there is a worldwide chessboard component, and I'd say that's the biggest component. And we are in the American empire, and America is the world ruling empire, and the other big players, of course, are Russia and China. Those are really the two other big players in the empire, and they are trying to get their slice of the pie, or maintain it, what they have. But America is really the big dog, and this is what we do. Now, out of all the books that I've read, I and like I said, it's a lot. There's one book that really stands out for me that I read, and I'd have to say this was probably I'd say 2008 era, sometime around then. And I forget the name of the author, but the book was called Confessions of an Economic Hitman. And this is probably the book that explains the best of what, it's been proven to be pretty accurate over the long term view of things and all these different events. Now remember, all these different events are not the main event. The main event is the event that I talk about. That is the monogamish era, the blue pill, the red pill, warring, and the subsequent, purple and hopefully white pill that you can get to. But this is the main event, is the war inside of the empire. That is actually the big thing. That is, what I say in my intro. I say it all the time. The dystopian apocalyptic future that is here now, called the loneliness epidemic. This is the main event. This is what is going to really lead to we call it the collapse. There's a lot of different versions of what that might look like. Whether Jesus is coming back, or we got this is just a stage in development. I'm not really predicting that. I'm just saying that's the main event, and it is centered around this spiritual war that is driving the men and the women apart and destroying the families and bringing us into these red pill and blue pill corners to war against each other. That is the main event. Now, all the things that happen around the world, this is really what I would call business as usual. And so this Confession of an Economic Hitman, this guy that wrote this book, he was an economic hitman. And what is that? He was one of these guys that worked for the CIA that was engaged in this activity. And then he wrote a book about it. And in this book, he talks about there's like 3 different levels, basically, of what is happening in the world. It's really one concept, but there's 3 levels. The one concept is that the countries are fighting for their piece of the pie. And America, being the empire leader, is the main one. And so they're out there, and we set up all these programs since the World War II, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. He talks a lot about that in his book. And they are putting all of these other smaller countries into different kinds of forms of bondage and servitude, where they're a player in the economic game of the world ruling empire. And so that's really the deal, is everybody needs to be a player in our game, our being the American empire's game. And if you're not, then they go to level 2. And level 2 is what they call the jackals. And that is these CIA operatives that go in there and then they set stuff up. And so we've seen a lot of these cases of this. This even happened in Iran and in Iraq, and Saddam Hussein was our guy that we had. This is level 2 type of stuff where they will take out one leader and put in another, not military, but they create coups in the country, and we were trying to do that with Venezuela. They had this woman who was the supposedly the recognized winner of the election that they had there, and the elections had been corrupted for a long time, and we were trying to put in somebody else. And the cover for it is the story about, now the truth of that is a little muddy, right? But at least the cover story of this level 2 economic hitman stuff is that the election was fraudulent. The person running against Maduro. So we're working behind the scenes to try to put pressure to make that stuff happen. And there's these operatives, these are the jackals that are in there doing things. And this is happening all over the world. It happened in Libya, Syria, the Ukraine especially. That's a big one. Our guy was the victor of that. They called it a color revolution. And so these are these kind of covert operations that we're doing all around the world to make things, if they don't fall into line with the World Bank and all these other, big organizations in the trade scheme, then we will try to, nudge them with these moves. And a lot of times it results in a revolution and the country goes in the direction we want, and then there's no war or anything that happens, right? But the level 3 is the military. This is when all this other stuff has failed. And I'm not, describing it perfectly. I'm driving over the mountains and just telling. I can't really look things up and have all the data here. This is just off the top of the cuff, off the cuff explanation of this is stuff that I understand and know, and I've done a lot of research to find out. And so this is where we're at with Iran. We're at level 3 now. We've tried, all the other methods for a long time, and this is level 3 where we bring in the guns, and that's all it is. And I guarantee you, a week or two from now, right now you got all these people, they're looking into the, who is the Ayatollah Khomeini, what happened in 1979, all this history, and people just love to go down these rabbit holes because it's a great distraction, frankly, from the real problem. So it's a drama, it's a show, but it's not really the real problem, which is that we're continuing to implode from within. And so I want to get back to that. There's one little point that I want to make here to kind of cap this thing off, is about the implosion from within. There's a lot of the liberals right now, the blue pillars, the feminist, the left, and so anyways, these guys are freaking out. In these girls, the simps and the blue pill feminists, they're all over there freaking out because they're not winning right now, right? And of course, that's what they do. They freak out. Everything is dramatic, and they think that Trump is going to destroy the United States, and the red pill's going to win. You know, the mega, they call it. And I think the red pill is much bigger than mega. But they think that that's going to win. And a lot of the red pill guys, they think, and girls, they think the red pill is going to win. And we're going to get J.D. Vance, and he's even worse than Trump, right? And so on. This is hysterics. This is early on hysterics. And I can prove this to you that is not going to happen. I really don't believe that that's where we're headed. Now, one of the reasons why is because you see what's happening with Trump right now, and he's going into Iran and taking out Iran. He's going into Venezuela and taking out Venezuela. This is what Republicans have done. You know, what about Daddy or son Bush and Daddy Bush? Going back there. Go back to our other famous right-wing guy that everybody today loves so much, Ronald Reagan. He was involved in all kinds of this stuff, this stuff that I'm talking about here, the economic hitman stuff, the 3 levels, Iran-Contra affair. I'm sure people are looking that up right now, and there was a lot of little wars under Reagan, besides just the tear down this wall stuff. So that for one thing is actually totally normal. What you're seeing today with Trump using the military in the way that he is a completely normal thing for Republicans to do. The neocons that Trump was against, they're doing it. It's just a matter of flexing the muscle in the world to maintain the world order, which is very important. That there's certain things like the dollar standard being there. I just passed a guy. There's a guy on the Stevens Pass Highway, State 2 highway sponsored highway of death, that he's got all these signs up on his car that are, no kings and all this stuff, just on the side of the road. Here I'm rolling through Skycomish. You can look it up. It's a beautiful little mountain town on the west side of the Cascades. Last one before we start really heading up Stevens Pass. So anyways, what Trump is doing is totally standard operating procedure for the empire. And a lot of people are very happy. You're seeing, a lot of these neocons are going to be very happy with this. And even a lot of Democrats and blue pillars are even happy with this. And then there's all the different conspiracy theories that come along with it at the same time. But this is one thing that is showing you that you can use to look at and see, yeah, we're not doing anything unusual here. This is a continuation of American policy for a long time, and the world's not ending because the conservatives are in power at the moment. Right now, the other thing that's coming along is remember I had a video called Revenge of the Left, and that was about the 2025 election back in November. And we had Katie Wilson in Seattle becoming the socialist leader in Seattle, and similar communist, somewhat hardline communist in New York. Mandani is his name, and so this trend is happening. That the blue side is definitely got a lot of power. Now, here's the key thing, though, that I want you blue pillars to really understand, and red pillars are not going to like this, but it is what it is. Is you'll notice that, and a lot of red pill people are starting to comment about this now, but in the Trump administration, he really isn't doing anything about the boss girls, and the the Republicans will have just as many, if not more, women that are feminist women. They pretend to not be feminist, but they're modern feminist women in the sense that they are having careers and outside the home, going to college, delaying childbirth, or not even having kids, being the equal, or greater boss in their relationships that they have. And there's a veneer of what we call tradcon, that or trad wife, or trad whatever. There's a veneer of that, but really that's not changing, right? And so the underlying reality that we need to start understanding is that there's been a shift in the world, which is the rise of female power that has come from the technologies that man created. It's not the blue pill narrative that it was the heroic feminism, the heroic feminists that were just working against the man. It's the technologies that man created, of the labor-saving machines, the socialist welfare state, and the birth control, that have transferred power from the men to the women. And this is what's creating this internal war that is the main war. This bifurcation, this destruction of the family, and the women going into their camp and the men going into their camp. And then also through this technology, all of us living in this siloed condition where we're basically alone. And we don't have families. We're not creating family legacy and generational lineages anymore. And we're not really reproducing anymore. And so this is the big thing that's happening. Not the Ayatollah being or business as usual in the Middle East. That's not the big thing that's happening. The really big things that are happening in the world right now are this total separation of men and women, and this trying to make women into men, trying to make men into women, what I call the monogamish matriarchal era that we're in, and where women have more power than men. And that's not changing. You see, you look at what the Trump administration is doing, it's just a right-wing version of that. And that's not changing. And I know some people think, well, they want to change it. Yeah, I know that some people talk about it a little bit, but there's no real effort going on to change that. And I don't think there's going to be. And that's where I'm coming from is I don't think that it's really a right-left battle. I mean, that's what it looks like. That's what we're living through. But if you dig a little deeper, I think it's more of a technological battle. And so what's coming next that is the big issue, technologically speaking, this is much more important than Iran, is the AI revolution and the robotics revolution. The combination of those two, the quote-unquote singularity, this is right up there on par with what I call the monogamish era bifurcation. You combine those things, and that's where we're heading. Is we're heading into this reality where the men and women are separated, the families are no longer functional, and we're bringing on the robotics and the AI at the same time. And that is going to be the big thing that forms the future. And, the question that I always have, I'm 55 and Generation X, is will, my generation at least, I don't know, but it might be other future generations, it could be millennials, Gen Z, that we're living through this, what could be the collapse of these two things, and that's, so this is the other aspect of the Republicans and why the left shouldn't be afraid, is that I believe their main job is these are the men and the simps, and the alphas and the simps. Most of the simps are over on the blue pill, but there's a lot of simps on the red pill, let me tell you. But what they're doing is they're patching the system. We're keeping it from collapsing. And that's what the red pill is doing, is keeping the system from collapsing unknowingly. And that's why I'm not a part. I have kind of moved beyond that. But that they are making this, the fixing a lot of the excesses of the left. That the left gets in there and they just go all out with all of these spending and programs and all of these excesses, and they always push us further to the left. The left. There's the left over there. There's the right. The right comes in and pulls us away from the brink of collapse that the left is leading us to. And yeah, there could be a war. The World War III, the current Civil War, it could turn hot. But actually, this is not an indication of that. And so what I was getting to is that my generation and subsequent generations, the big question is, will we be able to maintain things long enough for the robots to change our diapers, right? Because we're all going to just be old, right? That's what's happening. The population cliff that results from the monogamish destruction of the family, it means that we're not reproducing anymore, and this is a worldwide trend. And then that's going into the population cliff where we're all getting older, and you'll see the populations are getting older and older, and there's fewer and fewer young people to come in there. And so this is what's happening, and if we can maintain it long enough and go through this robotics and AI revolutions, then we're moving towards the technocracy that is a whole nother theory of a lower population and a technocratic lifestyle where we're all and there's some good aspects of that, but it is what it is. And so that's my focus, is to try to find the truth. of what's actually happening. What really are the big issues? And these are them that we'll get to a point where the robots will be changing our diaper, because we don't have kids, right? And so and if we do have kids, they're alienated, and they're all, they're not all, but in large part hate their parents. But yeah, most people that I know, their parents are, and the kids are somewhat estranged, and so they're not going to be changing diapers, and most of us don't even have kids. Over 50% now are not even reproducing at all. So this is the big deal. This is the big issue. It's really not right versus left or any of that. It's where is this ultimately heading, right? And that's what I specialize with. The black pill is accepting where we're heading, because we can't really change it. See, I've gone through this, and a lot of us have. I've lived through this, all these revolutionary stages of my life where I thought that we could change something, and that's generally not happening. And all this stuff that I'm describing is what is happening. And so I would rather get on board with what is happening, accepting that the way that it is, and then surviving and thriving through all of this. And you learn, as you get older, that life is short and life is fragile. Your life is fragile, and we don't know, when the day or time is coming, but we might not be here, and so God is really what matters. And I'll end this on one of my favorite quotes from Jesus that is about that. He says, "Store up your treasures in heaven, not on earth." I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he says, on earth, where moths and rust will destroy, but store up your treasures in heaven, where they will not be destroyed. And that's what I'm trying to do with you guys. That's what I'm trying to reach you on, this concept of the loneliness epidemic, that we really need to get past all this other craziness to understand that the real treasure is stored up in heaven, not on earth. And on earth, this is life on earth. With that, I'm going to go skiing and enjoy this beautiful sunny day here, spring-like conditions, and we've got the snow and the sun up here. I'm coming up to the top of Stevens Pass right now, and I'm going to get my skis on and get out there and get some exercise and enjoy real life in this beautiful world that God created. And I hope that you can too. And I hope that I can be a part of that. So I'll see you soon.